Welcome to Artistic Adventures. We're on to part 2 of our Cleopatra doll project, and this was a real face-up adventure. Here we go. Okay, is anybody confused? If you saw my thumbnail picture, you probably are, because it had this doll's face in the face-up, not the big 28-inch Barbie that I talked about in the last video. Well, here's the story. Had a little adventure with Miss Barbie. I want to tell you a couple things that are positive, and then I'll tell you what happened. Basically, I spilled acetone all over her chest, and it doesn't work on this hard plastic like it does on the faces. On the faces, it just wipes off the dirt or the paint and leaves, the finish. On this, it sort of eats into it, and so I tried to sand it, as you can probably see, thinking I could get it smooth and it wouldn't be noticeable, but I really couldn't, and so, I want this Cleopatra doll to be, really nice, and I do want to try to sell it on my Etsy shop, and I don't want to sell something like this. I also, this doll, it's big. That's what it has going for it. It does have the movable arms, and for a child's toy, it's, a unique kind of interesting thing, especially if you're a Barbie fan, but, the legs don't bend, and it's got the shoes that don't come off. So, I'm not, a fan of this as a makeover doll, and the biggest problem was, the huge grin. I wasn't really sure how I was going to make that work with a historic figure of some importance. Let's just put it like that. But there were a couple of things I wanted to point out that might be techniques that you can use on other dolls, or this doll if you really have to. You can see that I did cut her hair, and I did cut her bangs, and let me see if I can get this off. I've got it taped really tight because that's how I want to store it, but I can retape it. So what I did, I took off her face, I cut the bangs, and the bangs, because this has a side part instead of a center part, these hairs I pulled over from this side, and they wanted to stick up. These were laying down pretty well, but was not working for the hair. So I dipped it in hot water, which, if you don't know that, boiling water will straighten this synthetic hair. And then I combed it out really good, and I put some hairspray on it. Then I put this wrap around it to hold it down, and left it overnight, and so that actually worked really well. So if you're in that situation where you have this hair, the synthetic hair is a little stiffer, and I mean, it feels soft, but it's, it's straight, and it's hard to make it do what you want. So I thought the bangs turned out really well, and the idea that I had with this doll was to make a headpiece out of polymer clay that went around the head, had the cobra on the top, and then I was going to take this track hair that I bought, glue it to the headpiece, and then braid it and put beads on the end, because a lot of the pictures that you see, the hair has the beaded over part, and sometimes it's all the hair is braided. But that was my plan, and I think it would have looked good. That part I think would have actually worked. The other thing I want to show you is her eyes, and let me see if I can zoom in a little bit, because this was a thing I thought was going to be interesting to work on. And let me get it in focus. Alright, so if you see the sort of dark line here, that's where I took out the eyelashes. I pulled them out by the roots after I cut them with tweezers, and it left, little holes, because these were rooted eyelashes. They weren't just stuck on. So to get rid of the holes, I used the matte medium that I used to fix her face, And over 2 days, I actually started all this on Thursday. Over 2 days, I would dab just a little bit in the holes and let it dry, and it would sink in to the holes, and then I would add a little bit more till I got it to where it was over the top, and then I did sand it down with a very fine sandpaper. That worked well. It's pretty smooth. And then I put another coat of the matte medium on top of it, and I was all ready to go. And then I had the accident with the acetone and sort of ruined it. It did actually, it fell on her dress, and the dress has this sort of net, not net, but like a screen sort of design in it. It's kind of an open weave, and that actually penetrated into the plastic and stuck to it. It was really hard to get it off, and then it made the pattern on the skin. So I wasn't really happy with that, and I wasn't happy with the seams. I was going to sand those down. She's got, you know, very obvious seams. So I still want to do something with this doll. So what I think I'll do for you guys is, in a future video, I'm going to do a face-up on her. Because one of the things that I liked about her is that the color pencils really went down. I did a little bit of marking with a white pencil. You could probably see in her mouth just to see how it was going to take the pencil. And this was, that's going to be a positive for her. So what I'll do is I'm going to store her for right now. And after we finish the Cleopatra project and one other project that I have coming up that I want to work on, then we're going to do a face-up on her. So that's my adventure of the week. Wasn't really happy about all that because I do a lot of prep work prior to the Saturday or Sunday that I film, and whether I film on Saturday or Sunday depends on how much I get done on Thursday and Friday. Friday I do have the day off, so I have some time. So I'm just going to store her like this. So that meant I had to dig out another doll, so I got this Monster High doll, which actually is like a Cleopatra style doll. Can't remember the name. You guys probably know the name. And I had to, you know, do the thing with pulling the hair out and cleaning the face and getting her prepped. Did the wig cap, so we've got that ready. So I did all that last night to get ready to film today, because this will be my last day before I have to go back to work on Monday, and I want to get this done. So we're going to do the face up on this doll and complete the Cleopatra doll project with her. And one of the things I want to tell you that I'm doing differently, I finally broke down and bought some Mr. Super Clear. Yeah, so if you're into dolls much, you know that Mr. Super Clear is sort of the standard. Let me show you what the can looks like. For those of you who don't know what it is, it looks like this. Let me move her. Yeah, looks like this. It's not a big can. I actually thought it was going to be the same size as like a Krylon spray paint, but it's not. You can get it on Amazon, and it ships fairly quickly. I got it. I haven't used it before because I just was really against the toxic nature of it. You have to wear a respirator, which, here's my respirator. I got that on Amazon too. So you really don't want to breathe this stuff, and you have to do it outside. And so I was trying to be, you know, less toxic and save myself from all of that. And I had always used this for my base, and then I used the matte varnish for the final sealing, which works okay. It's not that I hate it. I just want to try this and see if it's all that much better, if it's worth the trouble. So this will be a good test. I did take her outside last night, put on my mask, and sprayed her for about 3 layers. So we're going to get started on the face up, and we'll see how it goes. And I'll let you know if I think this is worth the hassle and the price, because it is not cheap for this size bottle. Alright, let's get started. These are the brushes that I typically use. They're small and they're all brushes for nail art. But as you can see, they're getting a little ratty, so I did just purchase a new set. I'll put the link down below to Amazon. These look really nice. They have nice wooden handles. They don't have the paint on them that always comes off. So probably this may be the last time I use these old brushes, although they're a little hard to get rid of because I like them. So as you can see, the face up, cut the matte finish on this is really, really nice. So that's the first thing I'll say about the Mr. Super Clear. It has a really beautiful matte finish. Now, when I first started using the watercolor pencils, I wasn't getting a lot of color. So I wasn't really very happy about that. You can see I'm trying to pencil in with a fairly dark brown pencil, and I'm just really not getting a lot. So I actually did go back out, put on my mask, and spray it a couple more times with Mr. Super Clear and let it dry. And you really do have to let it dry, otherwise you'll peel off what you sprayed when you start using your pencils. That did seem to help, I think. So maybe you just have to really build up a lot of coats. So I probably had about 5 total coats. And I still had to use some water on my pencils, which I had to do with the Liquitex too, so that's not really that big a deal. But overall, I say not a lot of difference in the tooth of the finish, and that's the roughness that allows the pencils to put down color. Maybe, with more layers, it would probably be better. So you may want to layer in between if you decide you want to try that product. Probably just for the finish alone, I really, really like it. At least the final finish. That's such a beautiful matte finish. I'll give it some more tries and see. But right now I'm just working on getting the eyes finished and putting down the white, and then I'm going to work on the color of the eyes. I did think that the way the Mr. Super Clear accepted the pastels, the chalk pastels, was very, very nice. Probably better than the Liquitex, which sometimes can be patchy. I think that it allowed you to put down a really nice, even, soft coat. So when I started doing the cheeks and that part of it, I was pretty impressed with that. So I don't know. We'll give it some more tries. It's just it's just kind of a hassle to go out and put on the mask, but it's nice here in Florida this time of year, so it's not a bad deal. Actually, it's usually pretty nice in Florida pretty much all the time. It's really kind of hot right now. I did. Here I am putting some of the color on the cheeks. I put some sort of a pink up on the top of the cheeks as a blush, and then I used a more brick brown red color to contour beneath that pink color, which I think turned out really nice, and also shaded the inside of her ears, around the nose, and under the bottom lip with that. And then I used some blue on the inner corners to give that a nice shadow of inner corner of the eyes beside the nose. And now I'm starting to put down the black, which they used kohl. I'm using black watercolor pencil, but outlining her eyes really darkly in black and making that triangle shape on the side of her eyes. And let me just tell you that this has been really hard with my right hand. It feels like I'm working with my left hand and somebody's helping me with my right hand, like it's not another person. So there were parts of this that I had to just take the doll and hold it up against my chest and sort of press my right hand against myself to brace my hand, because it just was not doing exactly what I wanted it to do. But as you can see, we've moved on to the wine portion of the evening. This has been going on all day. And I didn't even finish tonight because of all the issues that I went through with the other doll. So I apologize for not getting this up Sunday night. We'll get it up Monday night. So I'm going to use this gold paint to do a really nice gold strip across the top of her eyelid. And this one was really hard because my hand is it's just not steady. So, fortunately, given that there was black on either side of the gold strip, I was able to go in with the black pencil and sort of mark over any problems. And I extended that gold out to the very edge of that blue triangle, which I think looks really nice. I like the shiny gold color on the doll. I think it looks really beautiful. And then I have a line there that's like a crease above the eyelid, and that's marked in black. And then above that, then we're going to put some light blue. I did go back in and sort of redraw that crease mark. May have done that off camera because I was trying to hold the doll really still. So now I'm taking a blue watercolor pencil with a little bit of water and drawing another eyeshadow color above that black line of the crease. So I'm going to have the dark blue, the gold, the black, and then this light blue. And also I put the light blue under the eyes off camera because I was shaking a little bit. This has really gone on so long and my hand starts to get a little tired. So now I'm taking some white chalk pastel and just shading on the brow, the ridge of the brow, putting a little bit of red in the tear duct area, and made a couple mistakes there I had to go over and fix, and then put a couple little dots for the sparkle in her eye. So this was the end of Sunday night. I really had to stop at this point. My hand just wasn't working correctly and I was going to mess her up. So I left her overnight to dry, and that's pretty much how she is. We were going to put some lashes on her later after we finished the costume and the hair, and that's how she turned out. We did put a couple, about 2 or 3 more coats of Mr. Super Clear, and then on the eyes and the lips I put the Liquitex gloss varnish for a little bit of shine. And I'm really happy with how she turned out. And I think it's a good thing to use this doll because she's not smiling, and I really think she gives her a more fierce, queenly look. But we'll still do a face-up on that other doll, so don't worry. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And stay tuned. We're going to be working on her wig next, and then we'll start on the costume. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Thanks, and bye.